What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the show. We are still in the Dolomites. We had a gorgeous drive into this beautiful valley this morning, and we've been hiking around this afternoon looking for that shot. You know how I like to be prepared and all that, especially how yesterday turned out so awful. Anyway, we have found a beautiful shot, and I'm tempted to turn around and show you just the place where we are because it's incredible, but I kind of want to wait till the morning. All right, you see what I'm saying, right? It's crazy beautiful here, and there's so many like these little huts, these little houses just scattered across these rolling hills, and like every single one is a picture. And so we're just looking for the right composition to put together the mountains and these cute little huts and the whole rolling hills, and hopefully we get some light, sort of that long afternoon evening light where we've got long shadows, some highlight sides, some shadow sides, kind of like we had in Slovenia in that shot from a few days ago. Anyway, that's what we're hoping for. So welcome back to the show. Here we go. Okay, so I think we found our spot. Like I said, Katya had kind of hiked around looking, I don't know if I said that, while I was doing the intro. Katya was sort of walking around looking for the best spot to shoot this, and I think we found the shot that we want. We've got some really nice rolling hills. The sun's coming from my right, and the shot's out in front, so we're getting these nice highlight shadow on the hills, which should make for actually kind of a neat evening shot. So we're gonna take it this evening. We'll for sure be back tomorrow morning because I'd really like to see some mists or some more dramatic sky. But I think it's worth taking a shot tonight, and we're standing here and the conditions are perfect, so might as well. So we're just gonna wait for the light to change a little bit. We're still a little early for sunset, but the light's changing fast enough that I think we'll just kind of shoot little increments to kind of see what works. We have a little bit of cloud in the sky, not too much, but if the sun gets up underneath it, we might get some pinks or something interesting in the sky. There's at least a little bit of clouds that could give us some drama, so fingers crossed. Now we've still got plenty of time as far as light goes, but I really love to be able to nail down a composition, kind of try a few things, look at it through the viewfinder and see if the composition works or not, because being here early enough gives me some time to walk around, adjust, make those little adjustments, notice things that may be right in the moment when all the magic of the light is happening. You don't have sort of the presence to think about. So originally I thought that this was actually going to go totally wide, which on this lens is about 16 millimeters, which is really nice and wide. But honestly, I think zooming all the way into 35 gets us a tighter, more, I don't know, it's easier to understand, it's easier to digest. Going too wide gives you too much to look at and almost makes your eye wander around the frame too much. So let me show you what I mean. While we've still got the light, I'll take two pictures. So here's the photo at 16, and then let's go ahead and zoom all the way into 35, and there's the same shot at 35 millimeters, so you can see the difference by zooming in. Even though it's a broad landscape and we've got so much depth to the landscape, getting those edges just isn't doing us any favors. So by pulling it tight, it really focuses our eye and makes for a better shot altogether. Now I was thinking, one of the things that I really sort of insist on, especially on these landscape shots where we really want them to be as sharp as we can, and we're going to the lengths to manual focus, to zoom in, to make sure everything's tack sharp. I use a wireless remote. I know a lot of people like the little wires coming off, but I feel like if it's a little windy, that wire can be slapping around. It's something to hold on to. It's something you have to put down or deal with. I really like the wireless. I know not every camera can do that, but if you can, I highly recommend it. I run the battery in this for like 4 years. So you just stick it in when you need to use it. It rotates out. It's got a really nice distance on it, so I can be, 150 feet away and fire the shutter, or I can be in a shot and fire the shutter. Wireless remote. Just a little tip. No big thing. And the way the light is developing here, I actually think this might make a really cool panoramic crop. So I have widened out a little bit. I'm shooting at about 28 millimeters. I've ramped up to f22, which I don't usually shoot that small of an aperture, but I really want the depth of field here, so I focused about mid-distance, f22, and I'm shooting a fourth of a second, so pretty slow. Along with the wireless remote, I also shoot on mirror lockup mode, so I'll hit the shutter, it'll lock that mirror up, I'll wait for everything to settle down, and then I'll let the shutter release. That way, because we're doing all these things, we're manual focusing, we're using the remote, like everything that we can do to make sure that the camera's not moving, that everything is just right, the better our chances are that we're gonna have a really, really good shot. That drone. I was talking about my drone, but somebody else is flying their drone and it's really starting to bother me because they're not a good flyer and it's like, you know, whatever. Just do your thing, I guess. All right, we're running out of light, but the sun has just hit the horizon. We're getting some really beautiful sort of Alpine glow, just that beautiful orange glow on the mountains. So we're popping off a few shots here just to see if that glow really does what we hope it'll do. You know, sometimes you see it and it looks so great, and then you get it into post-production and you start working with the file and you realize it really wasn't as good as it was in person. But I think today it might be. If not, tomorrow morning is going to be insane. If it's this clear tomorrow, this is a banger prediction. I think that if it's this good tomorrow, we'll end up with a fine art shot. If it isn't, we'll end up with another long walk, which is fine. Yeah, it's lighting up so pretty. I'll try and take some video with this. Sometimes that doesn't work so well with video to show you. It might be better just to show you the picture I'm taking. But no, we'll try it anyway. Alright guys, it's early morning. As you can see, there's a bunch of people here now. This spot that we had to ourselves last night, we obviously don't have to ourselves anymore, so I have to be really quiet. So sorry about all the whispering. I hope we actually have audio. We have beautiful mists moving through the valley, which is gorgeous, but there's clouds in the distance hiding the mountains, so we're just kind of waiting, hoping that as the sun comes up, things will kind of move and we'll get a shot. Still no sign of mountains. I don't know if we're gonna get it. I'm kind of trying everything I can try here with the mist to at least get something salvageable from this morning. But the mists are incredible. It's just so ethereal here right now. Ethereal. Who says that? So here's a little pro tip for you. When I'm focusing, especially in super low light, I want to be shooting at like ISO 64 and a long shutter speed, maybe 2 or 3 seconds at f11, f15, you know, something where I get a nice long exposure because it's so dark that we need all that light to get to the camera. But when I'm focusing, that makes it very, very hard if I'm zooming in on my screen to make focus, to get focus, to actually get it right. So what you can do is you can open your lens all the way up as big as it'll get. In this case, I think I'm down to about f4. And you make all your adjustments at a higher ISO, wide open, and then zoom in, and you can get a lot crisper image on your screen to get perfect focus. And then once you've got that, make sure you're set on manual focus, and then reset all of your settings for your exposure, and that way you know you've got perfect focus. Yeah, the peaks are starting to show, just a little bit up there, and the sunset's like 2 minutes away, so sunrise, I keep doing that, sunset, sunrise. The sun is 2 minutes away, and so we're just kind of hanging out, hoping that these clouds will just continue to clear, the mists will stick around, and that there will be something amazing. I've switched to a vertical composition. I'm shooting about a half a second at f11 right now, but that's changing all the time, obviously, as the light comes up. And yeah, we're just kind of hunting composition as the whole scene just keeps changing. It's actually really sort of disconcerting and challenging because every couple of minutes there's a different composition because the fog moves around, maybe something shows up at the peak, so it's like horizontal, vertical, just recompose. But I think there's been enough opportunities for at least something to come out. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep trying until it gets too bright to do it anymore. Well, this one's going to be interesting to see. The conditions, like I said, just kept changing and changing over the morning. and we'd have mists, or we'd have sun rays, or the peaks would show through a little bit, but nothing would happen at the same time, and the light just kept changing. The composition, like I said before, just, it was a moving target. I honestly don't know for a whole morning of shooting if we got anything, which is so dumb, because with these kinds of conditions, you'd think something magical should happen, but it was like everything was in either the wrong place or we were in the wrong place. I don't know. I thought that the spot we picked was really, really pretty and that we had a really nice frame, but now I'm sort of second guessing the whole thing. So we're gonna go back to the hotel, eat some breakfast, look through these shots, and we'll come back for a little wrap-up segment at the end to kind of talk about what happened and if we got anything and how it worked out. But what a morning to be out. I mean, this place is just absolute, like, there aren't actually words to describe just what this morning was like. I mean, it's so rare in the field to be out and have just so much magic happening all at once. And just to get to be here and watch these mists come through the little rolling hills and watch the peaks sort of come out and disappear, and the rays from the sun back here as the sun came up just were blasting through. I mean, totally in the wrong place, way outside of our composition, but just like so glorious, these giant, anyway, you get the idea. Anyway, it's been a super fun morning. It's been really cold. Poor Katya's been hiking up and down the hill just to stay warm as I just sit here and shiver behind the camera. But it's been a beautiful morning and can't complain. Hopefully the hotel's got some good breakfast. We can go get a hot shower and warm up and put on our hiking shoes and go do some more walking, find another composition for tomorrow. Tomorrow it's supposed to rain, so I don't know if we're actually going to be able to get out in the morning, but we may try and get out again this evening. So if that happens, we'll bring you with us. If not, we'll go to the wrap up and talk about the shot. So, all right, so the sun's up, everyone's left. There's still a little mist lingering. We just sort of hung out, but now we're getting these incredible sun rays just like blasting through the clouds. And there's mist and there's rays and there's, like, you know, the whole formula for an amazing shot. I think the sun up in the one corner is maybe gonna blow out the whole shot, but I'm just zooming in a little further here to try and cut that out and see if we can recompose just a little bit. Oh, this is just unbelievable. I'm just gonna turn the camera and shoot a shot this way just so you can see what I'm seeing right now. No way.
Now that's the light, right?
What? I don't even know what to say right now. Look at the rain.
You're a little excited.
I'm freaking out. Okay. It looked like it was over. I was just about to pack up, and then all of a sudden, everything changed. I'm shooting a 9-stop bracket, 1 stops apart. I'm focused in the near distance, and these rays just keep pounding through, and there's just a little bit of mist left, and so the trees are actually creating their own shadows in the mist where the sun's passing through. I'm just losing my right now. And one peak just decided to just show up right at the top of the frame. That is a steep schlep back up to the road. My gosh. I'm trying to kind of collect my thoughts about all this because so much happened this morning. We got here, it was dark. There was mist just rolling through everything. You couldn't see the mountains at all. Then things started to move through and the mist just got better and better as the light came up. Still couldn't see the peaks. Still, the clouds were just socked in over those mountains, which was disappointing because that's kind of the whole scene is the little huts and the mists and the little rolling hills and then those super dramatic peaks in the background. But that really didn't happen. So the mist kept rolling through, the conditions kept changing. We keep sort of recomposing, looking for something that would be aesthetically pleasing as the morning moved on. And then the sun kind of came up and we had all that drama, but it wasn't in the shot that I told you about. And then everybody left, and we were just standing there talking and watching the light change, and the sun just kind of kept doing great little bursts through the clouds. And then all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, the clouds move just in the right position. We see the peaks above just a little bit, and then these crazy dramatic light streaming awesome things just start blasting through the clouds, and the whole scene just becomes something totally different. I was shooting a 9-stop bracket, which is a lot for post-processing, but I think that there's enough information between those shots that we may be able to come up with something really spectacular. And I hate to say too much because I'm still worried that it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. But oh my gosh, what a morning! This is an awkward transition, but it's all I've got. We got up real early the next morning. We went out to shoot. Things didn't start so well. There were no mists. The peaks were showing, but really no drama, no nothing in the morning. And just as we started getting into the video portion, the battery died. It was freezing cold, and so there's basically no footage from the next morning, and there's really no shot from the next morning either. So we're just not going to worry about that. I think I've probably gone on with this episode long enough. So without further ado, I'm going to cut to the pictures that we got here. In all, this was a super fun spot to shoot. I'm looking forward to getting back there on future trips to do some more exploring. There's hundreds of kilometers worth of walking trails in this area, and if you haven't ever been to the Dolomites, you definitely have to put this spot on your list. I'll put the details about where we were down in the description in case you want to track it down. It does get a little tricky here because you are not allowed to drive. Like the regulations for these tiny little roads up on the ski resort are really strict. If you're not staying in town, you can't even bring a car up. And you've got to kind of just leave your car wherever your hotel is and hike back in here. So there are a couple of hotels that are closest to the shot that I'll also list down in the description in case you're curious and when you want to get close. But the final shot, the one with the sun rays coming through those clouds that I got all excited about at the end, I ended up using 5 of the 9 shots from that 9-stop bracket. I really like how it turned out. I think there's probably still some tweaking. This is one of those that I think I'm going to revisit until my eyes are really happy with it before I put it into the print catalog. But I'm going to show you how it turned out so far, and I hope you like it. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please consider liking, subscribing, all that YouTube crap. I'm new here, and every little bit helps. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.